Irukare Dixon, Bayelsa West. Ordinarily, as the Chief Whip said a short while ago, Mr. President has the power to hire, and therefore it goes that he has the power to also fire at any time. But where by statute an approval of this Senate or the National Assembly is required before the President so fires, usually there is a proviso connoting misconduct. I just want clarification from the leader whether the law he's referring to that governs this appointment and the removal by the President, whether the removal is predicated as it is in some legislations on misconduct. Now, if that is so, because as you know, Mr. President and my dear colleagues, before you remove a justice of the Supreme Court, you remove INEC, you remove this, the law says yes, you can hire and therefore you can fire, yes, but on misconduct. The only caution and clarification I'm seeking from the leader is, if by this law that we are referred to here, there is an imputation on misconduct. Now, if that is so, then this Senate is entitled to know the grounds. This Senate is entitled to know the facts that has led Mr. President to arrive at that conclusion. Because if we don't know about all those overall factual developments, if the law says misconduct, if the law does not say so, Mr. President can hire, Mr. President can fire. So we give the approval to Mr. President to fire. But we didn't hire him for the President. But my concern is, Mr. President, if there is an allegation of misconduct, if the law says the President shall remove him on misconduct, and that before doing so, the approval of the Senate or the National Assembly shall be procured, then in that event, this Senate will be entitled to know the totality of facts alleging the misconduct, the proof thereof, and the need for us to accede or not to accede. So I just want the leader of the House to throw more light on the legal situation governing this bill. Thank you.
He is basing his letter on removing the officer in question. I would like to refer us to the FCCPC Act 2018, Section 8(1)(b, that the President refers. Section 8 said a commissioner may be suspended or removed from office by the President if he, I'll go straight to B, has demonstrated his inability to effectively perform the duties of his office. In the same act, I know that, as Senator Dixon said, there's an area of misconduct, but the President is not basing the removal of this officer on misconduct. He is basing it on B, inability to effectively perform his office. And since the President, it is not the Senate to know whether this person is performing or not. The President who has the authority, we are all expecting the President to perform. The buck stops at his table. So if a person is not performing to the expectation of the person who is harassing the person, I think the President has, I urge the Senate to approve the President's request. Thank you, sir.
Well, let me thank he who hires can fire. And it's difficult to force a servant on an unwilling master as far as the law is concerned. But here, the provision is very clear. If the Senate's job is to approve the request of the President, not to investigate the request of the President. And luckily, the section of the law is very clear that the person could and can be removed from his inefficiency to perform his duties. And who measures the efficiency? It is the principal, in this case, Mr. President. So I want to thank all for their contributions. Ours is to either approve the request of the President, or if we have any reason not to, then we can say we do not approve. Then in which case we have to communicate the reasons to the President. As far as all the arguments are concerned, there is no reason for us not to approve the request, because it is aimed at strengthening his government and ensuring more efficiency. So I'll put the question. Distinguished colleagues, will the Senate approve the request of Mr. President for the removal of Mr. Babatunde Irukare as the Chief Executive to Vice Chairman of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission? Those in favor of the removal say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Therefore, Mr. Babatunde Irukare Irukare's removal, as requested by Mr. President, is hereby approved. Senate Leader.